Shadows of power. The fluorescent lights of the office buzzed faintly, casting a sterile glow over the rows of cubicles. Sarah Bennett sat at her desk, her fingers hovering over the keyboard, her eyes fixed on the spreadsheet that refused to balance. It was 6:45 p.m. and the office was nearly empty, save for the hum of the air conditioning and the occasional clack of a distant keyboard. She sighed, rubbing her temples. Another late night. Another deadline that seemed to exist only to test her endurance. Sarah had joined Horizon Enterprises 6 months ago, fresh from university with a degree in finance and a head full of ambition. The company, a mid-sized firm specializing in corporate investments, had seemed like the perfect place to start her career. The glass-walled conference rooms, the sleek coffee machines, and the promise of mentorship from senior executives had drawn her in. But the reality was far less glamorous. Long hours, impossible expectations, and a boss who seemed to take pleasure in her discomfort. Her boss, Michael Grant, was the kind of man who commanded a room without effort. Tall, impeccably dressed, with a smile that could charm clients into signing million-dollar deals, he was Horizon's golden boy. To the outside world, he was a visionary leader. To Sarah, he was a shadow that loomed over her every move. It had started subtly. A lingering glance during a team meeting. A comment about her blouse being distracting when she wore anything other than the drab cardigans she'd started buying to avoid his attention. Then came the late-night emails, asking her to stay back for urgent projects that could have waited until morning. Sarah had brushed it off at first, chalking it up to the demands of a high-pressure job. But the unease grew, like a knot in her stomach that tightened with each passing week. Tonight, as she packed her bag to leave, the office door creaked open. Michael stepped in, his tie loosened, a coffee cup in hand. "Still here, Sarah?" His voice was smooth, almost too friendly. "Just finishing up," she replied, keeping her tone neutral. She slung her bag over her shoulder, avoiding his gaze. "You're dedicated. I like that." He leaned against the doorframe, blocking her path. "You know, you could go far here. If you play your cards right." Sarah's pulse quickened. She forced a smile, stepping toward the door. "Thanks, Michael. I should get going. Early meeting tomorrow." His hand grazed her arm as she passed, a touch so brief it could have been accidental. But it wasn't. She knew it wasn't. Her skin prickled as she hurried to the elevator, her breath shallow until the doors closed behind her. The next morning, Sarah sat in the break room, stirring her coffee absent-mindedly. Her friend and colleague, Emma, slid into the chair across from her. Emma was a senior analyst, a few years older than Sarah, with a no-nonsense attitude and a knack for reading people. "You okay?" Emma asked, her brow furrowing. "You look like you haven't slept." Sarah hesitated. She hadn't told anyone about Michael's behavior, not even Emma. It felt too risky, too shameful, as if admitting it would make it real. But the weight of it was crushing her. "It's Michael," she said finally, her voice low. "He's been weird." Emma's eyes narrowed. "Weird how?" Sarah recounted the incidents, the comments, the late-night emails, the touch that wasn't quite accidental. As she spoke, her voice grew steadier, the words spilling out like a dam breaking. Emma listened, her expression darkening. "That's not weird, Sarah. That's harassment." Emma's voice was firm but kind. "You're not imagining it, and you're not overreacting. Have you talked to HR?" Sarah shook her head. "What if they don't believe me? He's Michael Grant. Everyone loves him. I'm just the new girl." Emma leaned forward. "You're not just anything. You're good at your job, and you don't have to put up with this. HR is there for a reason. And if they don't listen, there are other ways to handle it." Sarah wanted to believe her, but fear gnawed at her. What if she lost her job? What if Michael twisted the story, made her look like the problem? She'd heard stories of women who spoke up and were branded troublemakers, their careers derailed before they could begin. "I don't know, Emma. I just want it to stop." "Then we'll make it stop," Emma said. "But you can't do it alone. Let me help." Over the next week, Sarah wrestled with her options. She started documenting everything, every email, every comment, every moment that made her skin crawl. She saved screenshots of late-night messages, noting the dates and times. It felt like building a case, and in a way, it was. She wasn't sure if she'd go to HR, but having evidence made her feel less powerless. Emma, true to her word, became her ally. She introduced Sarah to Rachel, a former colleague who had left Horizon a year ago. Rachel worked at a nonprofit now, advocating for workplace rights, and she agreed to meet them at a quiet cafe downtown. Rachel was in her late 30s, with sharp eyes and a calm demeanor that put Sarah at ease. Over coffee, Sarah shared her story, her voice trembling at first but growing stronger as Rachel nodded, listening without judgment. "You're not alone," Rachel said when Sarah finished. "I dealt with something similar when I was at Horizon. Not with Michael, but another manager. I didn't speak up then, and I regret it. But you have options now that I didn't." "Like what?" Sarah asked. "First, your documentation is a great start. Keep it up. Second, HR is an option, but you're right to be cautious. Some companies protect their star players. If you go that route, go in prepared, bring your evidence, be clear about what you want, and don't let them dismiss you. But there are other paths. You can file a complaint with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission if HR fails you. Or you can confront him directly, though that's risky and not always effective." Sarah frowned. "Confront him? I can't imagine that." Rachel smiled faintly. "I get it. But sometimes, showing you're not afraid can shift the dynamic. It's not about being aggressive, it's about setting boundaries. If you do it, have a witness or do it in writing." Emma chimed in. "And you don't have to do it alone. I can be there, or we can get others involved. There's strength in numbers." Sarah left the cafe feeling lighter, though the fear hadn't vanished. She had a plan, or at least the beginnings of one. That night, she drafted an email to Michael, careful to keep it professional but firm. She outlined his inappropriate behavior without accusing him outright and stated that she expected their interactions to remain strictly work-related. She CC'd Emma for accountability and saved a copy for herself. The next morning, she hit send, her heart pounding. Within an hour, Michael replied, his tone curt, "I'm sorry if you misunderstood my intentions. Let's keep things professional." It wasn't an apology, but it was something. For the next few days, he avoided her, delegating tasks through other team members. It felt like a small victory, but Sarah knew it wasn't over. The following week, Sarah was called into a meeting with HR. Her stomach churned as she sat across from Linda, the HR manager, a woman with a tight smile and a clipboard full of notes. "We received your email to Michael," Linda said, her tone neutral. "We take these matters seriously. Can you tell me more?" Sarah had prepared for this. She presented her documentation, walking Linda through the timeline of incidents. "She system." Linda listened, her expression unreadable. "This is a serious matter, Sarah. We'll need to investigate further. Have you discussed this with anyone else?" "Emma knows," Sarah said. "And Rachel, a former employee. They've been supporting me." Linda nodded, jotting down notes. "We'll speak with Michael and follow up with you. In the meantime, please continue your work as usual." Sarah left the meeting feeling exposed, like she'd laid her soul bare. But she also felt a spark of hope. For the first time, she'd taken control of the situation, and that alone was empowering. The investigation took 2 weeks. During that time, Michael was conspicuously absent from the office, reportedly on a business trip. Rumors swirled among the staff, but Sarah kept her head down, focusing on her work. Emma checked in daily, offering encouragement, while Rachel sent articles on workplace rights, reminding Sarah she had options. One afternoon, Linda called Sarah back to HR. "We've completed our investigation," she said. "Michael has been placed on administrative leave, effective immediately. We found evidence of inappropriate behavior, and we're taking disciplinary action." Sarah's breath caught. "What does that mean?" "It means he's no longer your supervisor," Linda said. "We're still determining next steps, but you won't have to deal with him directly. We're also implementing mandatory training for all staff on workplace conduct." Sarah nodded, stunned. It wasn't perfect justice. Michael hadn't been fired, at least not yet, but it was more than she'd expected. She thanked Linda and left, her legs shaky as she walked back to her desk. Emma was waiting for her. "Well," Sarah told her everything. Emma grinned, pulling her into a hug. "You did it, Sarah. You stood up to him." "It doesn't feel like enough," Sarah admitted. "It's a start," Emma said. "And you're not done yet. You've got people in your corner now." In the weeks that followed, Sarah noticed a shift in the office. The whispers about Michael faded, and a new supervisor, a woman named Karen, took over her team. Karen was tough but fair, and Sarah felt a weight lift from her shoulders. She started speaking up in meetings, her confidence growing. She even joined a workplace advocacy group Rachel recommended, where she met other women who'd faced similar challenges. One evening, as Sarah left the office, she got a call from Rachel. Just wanted to check in. How are you holding up? Better, Sarah said, smiling into the phone. I'm starting to feel like myself again. Good, Rachel said. You're stronger than you know, Sarah. And you're not alone. As Sarah hung up, she looked up at the city skyline, the lights twinkling against the dusk. The knot in her stomach was gone, replaced by something new: hope. She'd faced the shadows and come out stronger. And for the first time in months,